This next episode with Victor Gonzalez. I am excited to bring you Victor. He is building an agent marketing tool, and he get to tell you about that part of the journey. And also, Victor is part of many, many Facebook groups, and then there's a lot of insurance agents from Allstate to Farmers to independent agents that follow him. So I said, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and tell Victor's story, so this way that you can hear from him directly about his own personal journey and what he's building today. Welcome to the show. Welcome to this episode of Industry Voice. And today we have a special guest, Victor Gonzalez. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you doing?
Cool. I am excited to bring you on the show. And when we are inviting guests on for Industry Voice, we are asking people who have their own community or building community coming on. And you have quite a few. So I'm going to ask you to just talk about where you're building these days. What kind of communities are you building these days? And give us a little bit background of who you are. And from my memory, you were once an athlete, right? Professional athlete. And, just tell us about how you get into insurance and then, take us through your journey.
Yeah. So I've been in insurance for a little over 10 years now. Before insurance, I was a professional baseball player. I played for 2 seasons professionally, blew my elbow out, and then had to go find a job while I was going through Tommy John surgery. And that's anywhere from a year to a year and a half recovery. So I picked up a job and I was doing some coaching on the side in baseball for some little leaguers. And one of the kids whom I was coaching, his father happened to be a State Farm agent. So he was like, hey man, do you want to make some real money? And I'm looking at my professional baseball checks, and then I'm looking at these checks from coaching. And I'm like, yeah, I need to make some real money. So I hopped on with him, and that's how I got into insurance. Did about 6 months worth of cold calling, purely cold calling for business. First, it started off cold calling businesses on the commercial side. And then in transition into doing sales off of cold calls. And so I went from there to the largest Allstate agency in the country, worked there did everything from top to bottom, appointment setting, sales, management, built out life and retirement department, just basically learned everything A through Z from Allstate. Worked for another really large Allstate agency, opened my own agency, sold that in 2021. And after that, I opened up a marketing agency. And here we are today.
So you have marketing agency today, and you also starting your own podcast, right? So
yeah.
Between your podcast and also your Facebook group, can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah. So my podcast, it's been rebranded a few times for a couple different reasons. So it started off as the Extra Innings podcast, and it was originally started to become a kind of a podcast with me and my buddy that I grew up with, talking about baseball, business, athletes. We had a lot of athletes, UFC players, UFC fighters, NFL players, MLB players, kind of scheduled to be on the podcast with us. My podcast host at the time was super, super inconsistent. And I'm like, I can't do this. If we're going to do this, we've got to do it the right way. We've got to show up and do this. So I rebranded it to the Mindset Mentor, which I felt kind of aligned more with where I wanted to go with it as far as talking about athletes and business. And then recently I found out that someone had the name of that podcast already. They had a trademark, so he kindly asked me to rename it. So we renamed it to Mind Games, which happens to be the name of a book I've been working on writing to release, which basically talks about sales, marketing, and psychology and how they all kind of intersect with each other. So that's a book that I'm writing on. I'm writing currently, but the podcast is titled Mind Games, and that's available Spotify, Apple, anywhere you can find it. And then as far as the communities, I have a school community called Clicks to Clients, as well as a Facebook group called Clicks to Clients. And in those groups, we're essentially teaching insurance agents and business owners how to use marketing in their day-to-day. And we're teaching agents how to use marketing to their advantage, how to use sales, different forms of marketing, and just building a community where people can kind of come in and learn without being sold anything.
So most people provide services on click-through calls and Google's, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you are actually doing the opposite. You are teaching them how to build their own. Is that what I'm understanding?
Yes, to an extent, yes. So we do have a marketing agency. We provide services for marketing, but we're also taking a different route where we're teaching agents how to do it as well. Because at the end of the day, it's kind of like a Hormozy style, right? I can't work with people who can't afford to work with us. So we're going to teach you how to do it so you can learn how to do it, build up your own business until the point where you can afford to work with us, and then we can help take you to that next level. So yeah, we give a lot of educational pieces. We give a lot of blueprints, PDFs, all that good stuff away within the group. We do trainings every week. So every other week we do open coaching calls where you can come in with any questions you have on your business, whether it's pertaining to sales, marketing, service, whatever the case may be. And it's open forum, open coaching call. And then every other week in between, we're doing trainings on specific topics. So our first call that we did, we were teaching agents how to create a Google business profile page, how to rank it, and how to do it properly. A lot of people kind of they don't understand what Google actually is looking for on Google business profiles to rank pages and keywords. So we were teaching the proper way to do it so people can do it themselves. It's a free service. So, we're just teaching people how to do it.
So we have so many common friends on Facebook, and is that where you are most active in? Are you on X? Are you on LinkedIn much?
Thank you for all your support to our channel. Here is a quick word from our sponsor. Please click on the link below in the comment section to sign up for a demo with Track AI.
What if your insurance sales conversations could work harder for you? Meet Track, your AI-powered conversation intelligence partner. Track automatically captures and analyzes every customer interaction, providing instant call summaries, risk analysis, and AI-driven coaching insights. Say goodbye to manual note-taking and hello to more selling time. Track handles the admin work while you handle the revenue. Fully integrated with your favorite platforms. Plus, get custom AI analysis tailored to your unique business needs. Transform your sales team's performance with Track. Visit track.ai today.
Click the link in the description below to schedule a demo with Track today.
Not on LinkedIn as much anymore. I am on X. I do that more as kind of like I use X as more of a journal to document my business and kind of some of the things we've done within our marketing agency to grow it. I'm basically being extremely transparent with how I've built it in the last 2 years. But Facebook is where I'm most active on the insurance side.
Your community of tribe that you have, I would assume is mostly insurance agency owners.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Any particular areas? Is a lot of farmers, a lot of State Farm, a lot of Allstate, a lot of independent? What would you say?
I'd say it's a pretty fair mix. I do have a large following of Allstate agents because that's where I came from, and that's kind of where I even got into social media. It was because an Allstate agent I used to work for who was big on Facebook, and he kind of forced me into creating a Facebook page. And after that, I kind of, started building up my following on Facebook. It's where I post probably the most of my content, especially video content. But yeah, it's a heavy mix because I'm close with some other industry leaders who are big in other lines of business. So I come from P&C, so I have a lot of P&C agent friends. I've used my Facebook as kind of like almost like a business only page. I don't really add friends or family to my, even when they request me, I just text them like, hey, I'm not adding you. I have a certain amount of spots, and this is for business owners. I use this for business. But, I have like Sandra Gebhardt, very good friend of mine. We work together, pretty closely, and she has a lot on the health and life side. So naturally, every time she shouts me out, I get a lot of those followers of hers who come on. So it's a pretty even balance between life, health, P&C. But on the P&C side, I'd say it's mostly on the Allstate side and farmers.
So what advice would you give to your clients or your followers in your groups that when they are looking at marketing, what's the most common mistakes people make?
The most common mistake that insurance agents make is that they dump way too much money into marketing and systems without knowing what they need to be doing after they purchase. So they buy the CRM, they go into Facebook groups, they ask, hey, what's everyone using? Now, I've never understood this, why someone would say, what is everyone using for leads? And, there's a common denominator there. And then you're like, I want to buy that. Why would you want to go where everyone else is at? That's going to create a saturated market if it's not already saturated. And it's kind of developed my mentality of our services personally are all exclusive to the agent. So the same systems that, the EverQuotes, Quote Wizards, and lead vendors that they use, we're building those same systems within an agency so that they own all their own lead generation. We're not selling leads on a lead by lead basis. We're creating that system inside of that agent. They own their own ads accounts. They own all the ads that we build for them. They keep all the leads. They're exclusive to them. We don't sell to anyone else. It's theirs. And so that's the mentality I've had. And a lot of agents, when they're first starting, they come in, they get the CRM that everyone has. They don't make any adjustments to campaigns, whether it's an email campaign or a text campaign that's pre-built in, right? And so you're essentially sending out the same marketing that everyone else on that system is also sending out to their clients. So for me, it's, you want to, if you really want to brand yourself and your business, you have to be a little bit different. And the number one mistake agents make is that they take everything for what everyone else is already doing. And so they don't separate themselves from the pack.
Especially with the TCPA changes coming up, I think inbound traffic, it's going to be so much more valuable. Are you in the commercial aisle, or are we just talking about the personalized space?
So we do some commercial as far as leads for commercial agents, mostly on the contractor side.
Is that where the traffic is?
Yeah, absolutely.
Interesting. Where else do you see the traffic on the commercial?
So on the commercial side, that's all our clients are doing commercial, and on the commercial for contractors. Outside of that, we don't really touch anything else outside of maybe trucking. Trucking, there's traffic there. If you're doing ride share, that's kind of in between commercial and personal, but depending on the carrier that you have. But outside of those three, we don't really dive into anything else if there is not a significant amount of traffic. Because at the end of the day, because we're building exclusive systems into each agency, we have to make sure that their ad spend that they're working with us is sufficient enough to afford at least the minimum amount of calls to be profitable on it. So if someone comes to us with $1,000 a month budget, which is the minimum we'll take on any ads per month, we want to make sure we can get you 1 to 2 leads a day at a minimum. And so you have to look at the price per call, cost per click, all these things that factor into a bid, and then determine, okay, can we even justify getting you enough leads where you could see a return on this dollar? Because you're not just paying ad spend, you're also paying us to manage each month. So, we turn down a lot of clients who can't afford our services, like I said, because if we can't justify the cost to them, we're not going to take them on as a client. And that's just because we want to do the right thing. We're not just going to take people and take their money for the sake of taking it.
So you educate your customer in the groups, and there's right one come around, you educate them, say, hey, this is what cost is, this is how much it costs to work with us. And you turn them down sometimes.
Yeah, a lot of times. I'd say we turn down more people than we take. Now, I don't use any of my groups to sell my services. So this is a different thing. If they reach out to us, we'll gladly have the conversation, but we don't offer our services to our groups. We run ads. that's how we help agents with ads. So we run ads that generate leads for ourselves internally. And so that's where we do the majority of our sales, not including any referrals that we get from current clients. But a lot of people refer us in other Facebook groups. And so anytime we're referred, we take that business on if they're fit and if it makes sense monetarily for them.
Gotcha. If we look down 1 year from now, where does everything Victor got going on look like? Quick Rush, your consulting business, your coaching, your podcast. What does all that look like a year from now?
Yeah, so that's a good question. I think I've kind of learned that with the way that I operate, there's no telling where the hell I might be a year from now. Sometimes I go on these spurts where, like, if something falls on my lap and it's too good to pass up, I'll take it, and it might not be in my plans. If someone comes to me with an offer for an agency to buy an agency, I might hop back in and start, own an agency again. It's not off the table. And I've had these conversations before. When it comes to the podcast is just something that I enjoy doing personally. I don't think I have any real goals with it. It's not like I'm looking for sponsorships or anything like that out of it. I try to post, I try to do 1 to 2 episodes a month, just to stay consistent with it, but I do enjoy it. For me, when it comes to the groups, when it comes to the podcast, when it comes to content creation, it's always about just being consistent with it. When you're consistent with anything, you're going to reap the rewards from it. And so for me, I don't have any end goals with it because our businesses do well. Now, as far as the business is concerned, on the marketing side, I'd like to, double our client size. I'd like to double our revenue in the next year. We've made a lot of changes over the last probably 6 months to kind of tighten up where I felt we had giant weaknesses. Marketing is still a marketing agency is still relatively new. I've only had the business for 2 years. I have no degree in marketing or anything like that. Just what I've done within my own agency and what I've done in other agencies that I've worked with, and we've turned it into services. So, I'd like to see us double that and maybe acquire maybe a smaller marketing agency as we continue to grow.
That's awesome. I'm looking forward to having you on the show again in a year from now. So hopefully you can hit all those goals.
I hope so.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us, and until next time.